And welcome back, everybody. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Hey, our last guest is executive producer and publicist for NYC Live, New York City Live at Fashion Week. It's a summer night of fashion showcase. It's going to be nice. You've never been to one? What? Well, we're going to tell you more about it. With us today, we're going to speak about the upcoming fashion showcase and highlight the work that he is doing with his fashion company, Exposure Modeling. So please welcome to the show, my man, William Michael Reid in the house. William?
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. You know, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
So you've been doing this for some time. Give us a little background on you and
Well,
what
I
you've been
started
doing
out
with it.
in fashion basically being, a runner, a production assistant, working on model castings,
Yeah.
working on press and media junkets, and eventually one of these days I said, one of the things I wanted to accomplish eventually was to become my own executive producer.
Yeah.
Growing up in Harlem, I had a chance to be a part of the Harlem Week experience dating back as far as 2006 up until current time.
That's right.
Working on events over in London and Paris and Milan, along with here in the United States in New York and Los Angeles and Miami.
Yeah.
And I said, one of these days I want to create something. And then basically in the end of 2014, I was coming back from France. And I said, it's about time for me to kind of create my own show.
Yeah.
So I knew the NBA All-Star Weekend was coming to New York in early 2015.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to create an event called NYC Live at Fashion Week during the NBA All-Star Weekend of February 2015. And here we are 8.5 years later, 15 seasons in. And we've done other events over in Miami for Swim Week, NFL weekends for the Super Bowl, NBA All-Star weekends. But this coming summer, I'm looking forward to bringing something down to South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, where my dad's from.
Yeah.
And I always made a promise to my dad several years ago that I would bring what I do in New York to his home state.
Yeah.
And we're like within, 50 days away.
We're doing it. We're
So,
doing
yes, sir.
it. And I remember, I'm hosting these fashion shows at Harlem Week, and I always look off to the side, and you off to the side and say, hey, Bob, I'm going to put one together. I'm going to put one. And every year you kept saying that. And I said, oh yeah, okay, I know you're going to put one together. And then you gave me that call. You said, hey, it's here.
Yeah.
And we go downtown by the Bull.
Yep.
What's the name of the place downtown?
It was a mezzanine. As a matter of fact, I saw
Mezzanine.
you back in that middle of August up at the Harlem Week Showcase up there on
Right.
35th. And I said, Bob, the event is next month, September 14th. And
Yeah.
that was that first season you worked with us, 4 seasons in a row and counting.
There you
And
go.
I thank you for giving us the opportunity of hosting our show 4 seasons in a row moving forward. We have a new venue coming up for this coming 16th season.
Yeah.
It'll be on my 55th birthday, September 13th.
All right.
And the place is called the Metropolitan Pavilion, located at 125 West 18th Street between 6th and 7th Avenue. So new home, new location, 16th season, and Bob Lee will be right there with us.
So if everybody's going down to the mezzanine and you look around and nobody's in there, better go uptown to 18th
Yeah, the big
Street.
sign on the door. We've moved. Yeah. Yes, sir.
We've moved to 18th Street.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us more about what's going to happen in Charleston, South Carolina.
Well, I made a promise to my dad back in September of 2019. Both he and my mom had a chance to attend one of my shows when we were up on 43rd and 5th Avenue.
Yeah.
And that was the first time ever and only time that my parents had ever attended my show as a couple, as my parents. And many people at the time were like, hey, man, it's great to see your mom and dad finally come to one of your shows. And when my dad was there, he's looking around at the spectacle of it all. And I said, Dad, what do you think? He said, yeah, this is great. He was that, Southern guy, like it kind of takes everything smooth.
Yeah.
I said, Pop, what do you think? He said, this is nice. I said, one of these days I'm going to bring something like what you see here down to South Carolina. His famous quote was, yeah, how about that? And I said, one of these days I'm going to do it. And unfortunately, I lost my dad back in January
Yeah,
2021. And
Yeah, I
I
know
said,
how that
I made
hits
a
you.
promise to him that I would one day want to bring an event to his home state. So my brother, you met my brother, John Reid
Yes.
Jr., we got together back in the summer of last year when we also lost our mom in April of last year. And I said, John, we got to do this for Mom and Dad. So he said, well, we still have the elders amongst us. We have our cousins there in the South Carolina area. Let's do something for Mom and Dad, but also do it for the family.
Yeah.
So going throughout the fall and the winter, eventually beginning of this year, I said, I am determined to get this show done. So we settled upon August 12th, Saturday, August 12th. My brother and I, we went down there over the Mother's Day weekend. We met with some of the elders and the family members there. And I said, I just need support. I want this to be an annual event, something that would rival, say, the Essence that's
Yeah.
based in New Orleans, the Ebony Fashion Fair, which used to be a national tour, and do something in South Carolina that could be an annual event that the family could rally behind and therefore become a signature event in the South.
And if anybody can do it, you can do it.
Thank you, sir.
Because you're a wonderful publicist. You know how to get the word out, and you're a wonderful producer. And I tell you, you have a military background, right?
Well, I don't talk too much about it, because
But when you're executing,
it's all about it, execution, yes, but also the idea. It's a thought-provoking idea at first, and then it's about creating it, then actually putting it on paper, laying a foundation to it, then having people rally behind the concept, and eventually on the day of just executing according to plan. And that's something I grew up around. My dad, I used to watch my dad put together bowling tournaments when I was a kid growing up. Actually, he did a lot of events here in the Bronx at Gunpost Lanes, Ballpark Lanes, and Pelham Park Lanes. So I was all throughout the Bronx at the bowling alleys watching him be the president of his bowling leagues.
Yeah.
And that helped me create something like an event planning company. And I always was very, very close to watching him strategize and execute basically down to the T. And that's when he would always say, son, watch what I'm doing now. One of these days you may follow my footsteps. And I was 8 years old at the time.
Well, they're going to be there. They're going to be in South Carolina, looking down and watching over the whole thing.
Yeah, this is my dad's shirt right here.
There you go. See? Wow.
Yeah, so I got a piece of my dad on right about now.
That's right. That's right. He said, remember me, son?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So what should we expect when we come to one of your fashion shows? You have people coming from all around the world.
I like to keep it high class, high fashion. I developed that European, style of putting shows together. I wanted to always keep that avant-garde, couture, high fashion, elegant style, class. To me, runways are about presentation. It's about selling.
Yeah.
And I like to keep it very much a European-themed global event. So over the past 15 seasons, 8.5 years, we've had designers from Vietnam, from Peru, from Sweden, from Malaysia, from Russia,
from China,
Algeria, from China, India. And that, to me, keeps a balance going forward and keeping it always on that global side, more international. And that's the same kind of concept I want to bring to South Carolina August 12th.
Yeah.
When the show for August 12th is in South Carolina, September 13th is in New York. So each show is separated by 32 days, but they both are basically operating in the same manner.
I like some of the fashions. I was wearing some of the fashions that
you wore Panzai.
Yeah, Panzai.
Yeah, John Panzai.
And then the lady from China.
That was Yi Ling Li.
Yeah,
she's from outside of I forgot the name of the city, but it's in China.
Yeah.
But she and actually Panzai, they were back to back, and I saw you come out there with a wardrobe change. Look at Bob. He came in wearing something. He wore like 3 or 4 different outfits before the day was over.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Some really, really nice pieces coming through, and people can link up with the designers and buy some of the stuff too.
Yes, that's always a premise of mine, to make sure the designers are in the process or in a position to sell. So we create like a pop-up show, kind of like a live mannequin showroom. So whether it's before, during, or after the show, we want to make sure those designers have something to sell before they pack up their gear and go home. That, to me, helps it become more than just a fashion show for entertainment, but it's a business venture for them as well.
Yeah. So where can people find out more about everything that you're doing?
Well, there's different platforms. Our website is www.nyclive@fashionweek.com. That's the umbrella.
Yeah.
On social media, all of my handles on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and also Facebook are at WMMICHAELREID, which is William Michael Reid. The new show is called, for South Carolina, it's called A Summer Night of Fashion Showcase. And that event basically will be taking place at the Charleston Marriott August 12th. The showcase for September 13th is NYC Live at Fashion Week, Spring, Summer of 2024, and that'll be taking place at the Metropolitan Pavilion in New York.
And for information on getting their flights and staying over and buying a ticket to the fashion show,
yes, everything is online. They can go to nyclive@fashionweek.com, or they can go to any of my social media handles, WM Michael Reid, WM, and then it's Michael, and then it's Reid. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All the information is relatively across all those platforms.
It's right there. Looking forward to it, man.
And looking forward to having you with us again.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anything that we missed that you mention?
Well, one of the things I certainly was talking about with my brother and also family members over the past several months is that this is something that I wanted to dedicate to my dad, somebody for whom I had the highest regard for. My mom as well. You were there when we gave a tribute to our parents last September. We played music and fashion from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, those eras that I watched my parents grow up in, based on how they dress and how they operated. I want to kind of keep that same theme going, because that's an honor to their legacies. And to me, doing these shows is very much something about dedicating something to their names and what they stood for. And that's, to me, carrying on that tradition.
It's going to be nice. The whole family's going to be there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of folks gearing up for it.
You
Both
do.
shows.
Yeah. When you have these fashion shows, do you see the whole picture? You see it before it happens?
I envision it, within a few days after the last one ends. So right after we did the February 15th show, I said, okay, let me take a break for about 2 weeks, because it takes about 2 weeks to kind of unwind and detox.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was up and running in March, but at the time in March, I had to find a new location because we had outgrown the mezzanine.
Right,
After being there 4 seasons in a row, I say, okay, we need a bigger spot. It's almost like saying, scene from Jaws, hey, we need a bigger boat. We need a bigger venue.
need a bigger boat.
And we have a bigger venue. And to me, that's very important because to me, having a showcase in New York during Fashion Week is so competitive.
Yeah.
We got a lot of other shows going on. And we always close out, that's another thing I'd like to add. We always have a saying where we close out Fashion Week in style. So in New York, even though the shows are 7 days, we actually have the last day. So our tagline is closing out New York Fashion Week in style.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Website one more time.
www.nyclive@fashionweek.com.
Hey, thank you for all that you do, man. You're putting it together. Mom
Thank
and
you,
Dad
sir.
are going to be right there
Thank
with
you,
you every step of the
They're
way.
here with me
They're
now.
watching over the. That's
Yeah,
right.
They watch every move I make,
That's
and I make sure I make the right moves always for
And
them.
you're probably going to say something. You're wearing something from Dad, but
Yeah,
you're
this is
probably
my
going to say
dad's shirt.
something that's going to remind
We're
you of
already
Mom
putting
and
together
Dad
the script.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother. Always.
Give us that date one more time.
August 12th, Charleston, South Carolina. It's called A Summer Night of Fashion. September 13th, NYC Live at Fashion Week, Spring, Summer of 2024 in New York City.
There you go. Michael Reid, the executive producer and publicist, NYC Live Fashion Week. It's going to be nice. All that in a bag of a lot of what you like. We don't have what you don't want.
Nice.
Thanks,
Mark.
Mike.
Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you, too.
Likewise.